Hi, good evening, and welcome to THFC Till I Die, your home of Tottenham from past to present. And tonight we're doing a bit of a special. We're doing where has the house that Bill built? Where's it gone? Where's the spirit of Bill Nicholson within the club? Where is the pride of putting on a Spurs shirt, going out, giving 100%? Where is the honour of playing for that club? Too many players from past to present. We can name a few. Dombellier for once. You can Aurier for another, who walked out at us at halftime during the match against Liverpool. Do you know, players just turn up, pick up the wage, but the shirt means nothing to them. Where is that? So we will be getting into that tonight, and it's something very passionate. I wrote something down the other few days ago after our FA Cup game, which I will be reading out. With me tonight is my usual co-host, the Godfather, who has seen it all from the Bill Nick days up to our glory days, up to our days where we're struggling. Philip Brady, the Godfather. Philip, how are you this evening?
Yeah, I'm good, Dermot. Yeah, just relaxing here after a surfeit of FA Cup football at the weekend, and looking forward to this because there's a few things need to be said about some. Now, I temper what you say that not all the players have given up on Tottenham. You know, a lot of them are pride in the jersey, but it's a few that don't, that bring the whole thing down, you know.
Yeah, and it's not all of them, Philip. I'm not saying all of them, but you look at Dombellier, you look at Dele Alli, you look at Aurier walking out on us at halftime against Liverpool when Mourinho was manager. You look at, but you also look at players like Harry Kane, Ledley King, Gary Mabbott, Graham Roberts, Dave Mackay, Jimmy Greaves, who went out and wore that shirt with pride. They were proud.
Can I add another name to that too? Now, I know he wasn't always our favourite footballer when he left, but Gareth Bale, who announced his retirement today, probably put in some of the most incredible performances in a Spurs jersey in the last 20 years. Yeah. And I mean, fair dues to Gareth. He can go and enjoy his full-time golf course now. And he'll not be earning his 600 grand a week, but I'm sure there's a few bob put away to keep him going for the rainy day, you know?
I say so. Yeah, Gareth Bale was one that did care. He did care about us.
He did.
He did care about the club.
I actually watched the bit about the Inter Milan game again this evening, a bit of it, when he took Mike onto the cleaners. I mean, that was probably the best individual performance since up until Harry Kane at the Etihad during last season.
Yeah, well, we've got a few people in the chat, Philip, and then we're going to announce it's sort of an intensive for you to become members, aren't we? It's sort of like a game. It's sort of like we can all so we can interact with you and you can interact with us. So before we say hello to people in the chat, Philip, do you want to discuss, and I'll bring it up, if it's for the $2.99 and the $4.99 memberships?
Yeah, it's something. It's I've been involved in a thing like this with some friends of mine for years, and basically what we do is this. Now I'm cutting it down a bit. Normally we go on a full 25 or 26 match weekend, but we're going to cut it down. Every week there'll be 10 matches put up for prediction. Now they could be in the Premiership, they could be in the Division 1, they could be in Scottish Premiership, they could be anywhere, right? And what you do there is you look at the 10 matches and you predict the result, not the score. You put down 1 point for a home win. You think the home team is going to win this a point. Well, you get 1.5 if it's a draw and 2 points for an away win. So that's what you do. You predict that obviously prior to the games taking place. Then when the matches have been played, okay. I'm sorry, should add. In addition to that, just to make it a bit more interesting, right? One of the matches is selected for a score forecast. So say now Tottenham are playing Arsenal and the score forecast is 6-0, and which I hope it will be. You get 2 extra bonus points for getting the score right. Okay, now I mean more than one person can get the score right, so there could be a few bonus points got there. And then there's another little addition to keep keep it interesting is the amount of goals scored. So, you know, if you like 10 matches, you predict there's going to be 27 goals scored in those games. And if you predict the amount of goals scored correctly, you get an extra 2 bonus points. Okay? So I think it's the next line is coming up there now.
Yeah. Also every week, try and predict, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, did I not bring it all over? Sorry, Philip.
Well, it's the number of goals scored in the 10 matches, basically. Yeah. So you put you get like to be an average. There's probably maybe 1.5, 2 goals scored per game. So So usually 20 and 30 goals would win that. So that happens every week. Then your points are totted up, and then carried forward onto a leaderboard, and that's starting with after the Man City game, I think, and then it goes right through to the end of the season, and the winner at the end wins a Tottenham Hotspur ball. So,
and a Spurs shirt of their choice.
And a Spurs shirt of their choice, yeah.
Home and away.
Home or away. So it's a bit of crack. It's interesting. I've been doing this for years now, and it's great fun. And you can get some of the matches. Obviously, you're going to predict. Let's say that Tottenham versus Arsenal. The only prediction you're not allowed to put in that is an away win. Okay, that's against the rules.
That's true, but it's a bit of fun between us and the members. So get your memberships for the $2.99 and $4.99 ones.
Yeah,
and it interacts with us. We get to interact with you, and also we get a leaderboard. So every week, when we do a post-match show, the leader will be brought up, and we'll have a bit of fun, see who's leading, who's not. So
and we'll put the fixtures up the Sunday before each weekend.
Yeah, we will do. So, Philip, if I hit these, do you want to read these comments out that are in the chat here for us?
Yeah. And Catman Jess says, Tottenham till I die, Tottenham till I die. I know I am, I'm sure I am, Tottenham till I die. I'm not going to sing it because I can't sing, but that's what I mean. You got the point, Catman. And big up Gareth Bale, amazing career. Yeah, I mean, fair dues to him. He's done very well. Now, okay, he might have been out to grass the last couple of years, but, he had a good career. Big up Dermot. This is from Chris Agambar. Big up Dermot. The spirit is there, just needs awakening. Well, hopefully that's true, yeah.
That is so.
And Catman Jess, big up Dermot and the Godfather Philip. Good man, Catman. And Andrew Gregory says, evening, Dermot and Philip. Good evening, Andrew. Good to see you in the chat. And Wayne Bonner says, how do you all? Hope everybody's well. Thought we would have brought in 15 new players by now. Gil, Messi and Saar were class on Saturday. Funny, I was expecting 17, but we haven't actually brought any in, so we're both disappointed. Gil, Messi and Saar, they were, weren't they? I mean, they were a breath of fresh air, really. They were a breath of fresh air.
They were brilliant. Son, for me, you are right. And your Godfather Talks bit's coming up tonight at 10. So everyone get over to that. But you're all right. He does remind me of Ginola. The way he does. He does. The way he cuts inside and the hair flowing behind him. It's such a throwback now to see a player with long hair. Normally you don't see that anymore, But anyway, at the Ratchon Wembley won. Evening, boys. I think the true spirit of leadership on the field went out with the likes of Graham Robertson, going back, Perryman, Mackay. Even today, the likes of Kane and Lloris aren't true leaders. That's a very good point because it's one thing I'm not a fan of keepers or goalkeeper skippers. Never have been. They're too far back to influence the play. Yeah.
And you're right enough. I mean, the likes of Graham Roberts would absolutely tear into his own team if they weren't doing what he thought they should be, as Dave Mackay did and Steve Perryman. So maybe we're just a little bit too quiet, I mean, to me, we need a good midfield person in the captaincy who can see both sides of the pitch, both ends of the pitch at the same time. So anyway, we'll see what happens on that,
Yeah. Just want to say big up to United Spurs of America, Jacob. Big up to you, sir.
Good, big up. And Kyle put in there, I just want to wish Gareth Bale a happy retirement. He's a legend of the game. My favourite Bale goal has to be the stunning goal against Sunderland. Yeah, that was a cracker. Was that his last goal for Spurs?
I think it was.
That's the one that nearly cut the grass for the groundsman way into the net, And Chris Agambar saying, Martin Chivers loves the club. Whenever he comes into the office of survey company I once worked at, he always wore his coat of blazer with a badge on his chest. And Martin Chivers is still an ambassador for the club. He does the meet and greets and what have you. And still looks as fit today as he did. He did. Just back in a second.
No problem. No problem there. And we've got Elias, big up, hello, and Wilton McDonald. I'm happy if we're able to compete with the other top clubs. There are no billionaires who didn't dirty their hands while gaining wealth. Well, that is very true. That is extremely true. But look, I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say I didn't want the World Cup to go Qatar. So why would I want a Qatari person with the human rights as bad as it is over there? And they can dress it up as much as they want. All the deaths that happen in building the stadiums over there that they've tried to cover up. Why would I want them in my club? I don't want. It's very bad feedback, Philip. Do you want to speak to that? Yeah, it's very bad. I'll just meet you there.
Try that now. Okay?
That's very bad.
I'm not hearing the thing. I think I'll another microphone.
Hang on. Yeah. Speak again.
Mm.
Yeah, it's very bad. Do you want to come out and come in again, Philip?
No, I'll try it now.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Whatever you've done.
I just switched off the microphone.
Yeah. Look. I was saying, Philip, we were very critical over the World Cup.
Yeah.
So why would we now be all happy? Get a country that has bad human rights, that people died, that they're trying to cover up, building the World Cup stadiums over there. So why should we be happy with them coming into a club? We will get into this later. Me and Philip have our views on it, and we will let them know. This really is a show about me and Philip getting our views on all things Tottenham, off the field and on the pitch. So this is what it is. Good evening, guys. Wilton, big up Wilton. Mystery E said Bill Nicholson house was left to ruin into the ground long ago, pre-Premier League era. Yeah.
I think he means the house that the team rather than the house he lived in Tottenham there. So,
yeah, maybe. Yeah. As it's definitely worth it. Are we talking about fantasy football, Dominic? It's not fantasy football. No. It's more the pools. But Philip will explain it later. We'll explain it later. Carl, big up Carl. He says, I'm down for it. If you want to be like Carl and big up Elias, do get your memberships and then you can enter the competition. It is well worth it. Really is. I'm surprised that there is 89% of the supporters on here that have said they're happy with owner from a country state with bad human rights. Well, I've done a poll in our chat, Philip, and I put, would you be happy with investment from a country with bad human rights? 90% have said yes. 10% have said no.
I think that's quite sad in a way, because I mean, I know the Newcastle fans have kind of welcomed the Saudi Arabian thing. Well, maybe not with open arms, but they're certainly burying their feelings about it, because Newcastle are so long without a trophy. They would take help from the devil himself, I think, to win a trophy.
Yeah.
You know, we're not quite that bad. But the problem we're going to have here is, and I think if as William Wilton said earlier, there are very few millionaires with clean records, billionaires with clean records. They didn't get the money completely legitimately. So whoever we get is going to be tainted up to a point. But my thinking on this one is, I cannot ever see an Arab consortium or an Arab country taking an interest in a club with such a Jewish heritage. It just doesn't sit right.
No,
you know, okay, maybe I'm old-fashioned. Maybe that's not the way things are done now. But like, I'd be very annoyed if Qatar got involved with Tottenham. But like everything else, if it happens, it happens. And what can we do about it? You know,
money talks.
Money talks. And you know, we all have our feelings about it. But like at the end of the day, it's not us that makes the decision.
No. Graham Roberts leaving was shortly after Mickey Hazard, soon after, followed by Mark Farcoat, Paul Miller, Glenn Hoddle, and Richard Goff. Showed what leadership Robbo offered, started an exodus. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Graham Roberts leaving Tottenham was an absolute disgrace. And David Pleat should be absolutely ashamed of himself. He put Graham's kit outside the training ground gates and wouldn't allow him in.
Yeah.
And that was it. And that's when he went off to Glasgow Rangers. To treat such a legend of the club so shabbily was terrible.
We got KVP saying Bale's last Spurs goal was against Swindon in a pre-season friendly in 2013.
Yeah, but his last competitive goal was against Sunderland, I think.
Yeah. Mr. E said, I'd rather the knobhead we've got as a chairman instead of a tyrant medieval era throwback warlord.
There you are.
That's what
says it all, isn't it?
Yeah.
Says it all.
Yeah, I'm going to put her on the Harriet, whoever. Christopher Inshaw, I think they only want 30% stake.
Still 30%.
But that's how they all start.
Yeah.
Look up Joe Lewis. Andrew Gregory says Black Wednesday and what he's doing in Patagonia.
I don't know what that's about now. I'll check it out.
I thought Black Wednesday, was that when the pound crashed because of the ERM, or am I thinking of a different Black Wednesday?
I honestly don't know, Dermot. I need to check that out. I'm not quite...
Yeah, well, Qatar, Elias says, Qatar's still okay and better than other oil states. Look...
I don't think the 6,500 people that died doing the World Cup stadium might agree there.
Yeah. And Wilson says, correct, Philip, because of political and national interest is at odds here.
Yeah.
I think he agrees with you, Philip.
True, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, big good evening. Thank you for everyone coming in. If you want to be Elias and KVP and Wayne Bonner, please do get your memberships. And then we will explain later in the show how you entered the competition. Right. I did a watch along with Philip on Saturday for the Portsmouth game. And after that, I went on to Dave's channel now to go on to the fan show. And Dave looked very upset. And by the way, best wishes to Dave and from me and Philip and everyone here, brother. I hope you're doing okay. It got me thinking. Now, Dave was upset because of the two win backs weren't, pulling their weight. And it got me thinking, have some players don't feel pride of wearing Tottenham? You look back at the past, you look at Dave Mackay, Jimmy Greaves. And then it got me thinking of the house that BIIL built. The 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, when we were really successful. Okay, we nearly went bust, but Alan Sugar saved us with Terry Venables. But still, there was the spirit of Bill Nixon around the club. Since Lewis and Enoch have taken over, this is not a leave out or an in out show, by the way. This is about the spirit that's been lost within the club. Tottenham were always a family club, and I feel that's been lost. The spirit of Tottenham Hotspur has been lost. So this is what I wrote. So bear with me. I'm just reading it off my phone here. So just bear with me for a second. Right, let me get it up now. Okay. Being a Spurs fan is an honour. The house that Bill Nick built has gone. The pride, the honour of putting on the Spurs shirt has gone. Too many players disrespect the shirt. Players of the past like Roberts, Perriman, Hoddle, Jimmy Greaves, Dave Mackay, and many others who put on that shirt and give their all for us fans. Generations of Spurs fans have seen players who give their all for the club. What hurts the most is that the players of today don't care about the shirt, the badge, the privilege that comes with putting on a Spurs shirt, to play on the hallowed pitch of White Hart Lane. Any fans would give their right arm to play for Spurs. We, the fans, care. We, the fans, love our club. It's the second love of our lives. Fans pay good money, go every week to see the likes of Kane, Son, and others. All we ask is for you, the players, to show some pride. Show some pride for the shirt that's been lent to you. Not given, but lent. Too many players are now disrespecting the honour that has been given. So yes, it hurts big time to see players who don't care. But we are the mighty Tottenham Hotspur. We will rise and we will sing it with pride as we are the best fans in the world. And yes, we are the best fans in the world. Yet we are the best club in the world. But the likes of Don Bele, the likes of other people that have come into our club that don't care, just take the wage. Don't put in a shift. How many times have we done a fan show where we complain about X, Y, and Z? He hasn't put a shift in. He hasn't cared. He just collects his money. He's quite happy to sit on the bench to collect his wage at the end of the month. And we have lost this spirit. This club have lost the spirit of where Tottenham used to be. Philip, where do you go with this now, and where do you stand on what I just wrote out? I mean, you've been a fan for over God knows how many years.
Yeah, I need to forget how many years.
Do you know, as the house that Bill Nick built, has it gone?
It's not gone, but I traced the origins of the problem back to 1992 and the start of the Premier League era, when the Sky money started to trickle down into the game and vastly inflated the wages of a lot of very average players. Like up to 1992, players, while they were earning pretty good money, they weren't earning the mega bucks that the players are today. Like there are players for club. Now, I'm not saying this is a Tottenham. I'd say we're probably one of the most sensible clubs when it comes to wages. But there are average players taking home 150 grand a week at other Premiership clubs, right? Now, they are not loyal. They are loyal to their pay packet. They are loyal to whoever's paying their wages. That means that their agent can ring them up on the Monday and say, listen, I'm not happy with what you're getting at, say, Tottenham. I can get you a move to Chelsea and get you another 100 grand a week. Are you on for that? Yeah. I'd class that as mercenary behaviour, right? and there are too many players at clubs that are that way inclined. Now, there are honourable exceptions. Harry Kane, players at Hugo Lloris, players that have stayed with Tottenham, and go back to the previous generator, the previous tenure, Ledley King, players like that. You cannot fault their commitment to the club. But it's the likes of Ndombele coming in, the likes of Lo Celso coming in. Literally, they're just picking up. The only day in the month they actually enjoy playing for Tottenham Hotspur is the day their pay packet comes through at the end of the month. And that is sad. So there is a lot of the younger players don't know what loyalty is. They don't know what the history of the club is. Like it's where football used to be a career where you tried to stay at the one club your whole time. It's now become let's see how many clubs I can get into in my career and see how much money I can make. Because that's all it's all about. I feel sorry for the likes of Jimmy Greaves and the players that played in the 60s. They were earning maybe 70 or 80 quid a week. Now, I know that's at that time that was good money, but compared to what some of the lesser lights are earning now, it was a pittance, And this is where, and Bill Nicholson wasn't to blame, wasn't faultless in this. Bill Nicholson was the tightest manager when it came to dishing out wages. I mean, you've heard stories of people going for pay rises, and what have you done to earn that? So I don't think Bill would survive too much in today's climate.
No.
Can you imagine? Someone going to Bill, I want to rise up to 150 grand a week. Bill would probably fall off the chair in shock. So,
but
yeah.
But Philip, is he looking down at the club and looking in disbelief of how the club has turned out? What's happened to the club? Where we are or is football? Does football link in with society? Do you know what I mean? Does football link in of how society is? Does it go hand in hand, or is it footballers now? There's so much money in the game. Footballers want to make as much money as they can in a short career and get out of it as rich as they possibly can. So that's where they don't care about the club they play for.
It's money. With very few exceptions, it's money. Money talks, and that's where the role of the agent has really, in my mind, ruined the game. Really, it has. Because if you look at it this way, look at 20, 30 years ago, right? How many foreign players were in the game in the UK, in the Premiership? None.
No.
Like when Ozzy Ardiles and Ricky Villa came in, I think there was maybe 4 or 5 foreigners playing in the league. Now teams are predominantly foreign-based players. If you look at it, the English guys aren't getting a look in. The young English talent is not getting a look at, and our own academy is tantamount to that. Our own academy, our under-21s, okay, I know they beat Liverpool yesterday, but they're still bottom of the under-21 league. That's not good. So because the young players are not getting the chance to shine because the foreign players are here earning all the big bucks.
Yeah, and also, Philip, does that fall down to our owners where Bill Nicholls' anniversary we had the other day, they didn't say a dicky bird about it. Jimmy Greaves, when he passed away, did really nothing to celebrate the career of Jimmy Greaves. You look at when Leeds with Sugar was in charge, he tried to do, when there's something like Bill Nick or Jimmy Greaves, or if a player died, he always tried to do a big thing about it. Now, the last day of the lane, they had all the stars there from past to present, all the 61. Well, have Tottenham lost their roots, Philip, where they would help, where in the past they would help like not Cliff Jones, the striker for Tottenham in the 60s, 61.
Bobby Smith.
They helped Bobby Smith out.
Yeah. And they helped Jimmy Greaves out. They helped Jimmy Greaves out as well. And to be honest with you, the club now, no fairness to them, not knocking them on this front, if any player is in trouble with medical bills or whatever, the club are do it on the quiet. They're actually helping them. And I don't think we've heard of half of those things that have helped. But I think what the problem is, you mentioned not mentioning Bill Nicholson's anniversary there. You've got some young guru up in the PR department who probably never even heard of Bill Nicholson.
Yeah.
And just didn't bother. But that's sad. I mean, somebody at the higher end of the club, Daniel Levy, should have said, listen, at least mention the guy, because let's face it, without Bill Nicholson, we wouldn't have a club like we have today. So it's things move on. Things that we feel important, that players that are important, managers that are important to us in years gone by, they're yesterday's men as far as these young guns coming through think.
The Tony Young puts here, the supporters don't realise just how good we were in the old days. Yeah, we were good. We were fantastic.
Have you seen the old pictures of I know European nights at Tottenham now? Obviously, they mustn't have pre-sold the tickets. There'd be queues halfway down the high road to get into the match. You know, we were a brilliant team in the 1960s. And that's all down to Bill Nicholson. And the fact that he can't even get recognised on his anniversary is quite sad and quite distressing, to be honest, because, you know, okay, I know they gave Pele, rightly gave Pele a good send off because he was a genius, but he didn't play for Tottenham.
No.
So why do we forget our own men and laud everybody else? You know,
we gave him a bigger send off than we did on his Bill Nick on his anniversary, which is absolutely shocking.
Exactly.
And we've got Wayne Bonner here, Philip. He says, I wonder how many of our younger fan base knew we were the only non-league side to win an FA Cup or the first British team to win a European trophy in '63.
Well, I think a lot of fans...
You had that experience with the Chelsea fan, didn't you? You said you were about...
I mean, my favourite one was asking the Chelsea fan, who would be maybe in his 30s, you know, saying, what do you think of Peter Osgood? And he looked at me, he said, who's that? I mean, Peter Osgood to the older Chelsea fan is what Jimmy Greaves is to the older Tottenham fan.
Yeah.
The best striker they've had in a long, long time, you know? So, yeah, there's I think a lot of the younger fan base, soccer only started when social media started.
Yeah. I think
that's it, you know? But I'd suggest any young Spurs fan to go back and look at the history of the club. Especially around from the 1958 to 64 era. That was the golden years of Tottenham Hotspur, and when Bill Nicholson was in charge.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Christopher Inshaw here. Rewatched the 1984 UEFA Cup last night.
Yeah, that was one of the great nights. That was in the last 40 years.
Yeah.
That was one of the great nights, and it was fitting that the guy that scored the equalising goal on that night was the one and only Graham Roberts.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean that was an amazing night. We had no Steve Perryman in the team. Ray Clements was out. You know, we won that match really with a semi reserve team playing, and to win that trophy was absolutely amazing, and the atmosphere was brilliant.
Yeah. Do you know who picked that team? Do you know who helped put that team together?
Go on, Bill Nicholson.
Bill Nicholson.
Yeah.
He left in '74, and it was Keith Birkinshaw who brought him back as an advisor for him. And he found the likes of Graham Roberts, Gary Mabbott, Groth Crooks, Steve Archibald, Mark Falco, Tony Galvin. He found all them players. So
he did.
You can. Bill Nixon has a bigger imprint in our club than anyone gives them credit for. And I think it was... This is what gets me today, Philip, about the players today. You look at the players that pull on the Spurs shirt now, where there used to be honour and pride. Graham Roberts lost teeth playing for us. Ran out in the cup final. Ran away from the doctor. Lost his front teeth. I'm still going out there, put my body on the line. Gary Mabbott fractured his cheekbone, broke his leg playing for Spurs.
Yeah.
With Gareth Bale, even he did his bit. You had the likes of Jermaine Genius. You had Robbie Keane, who for me was probably the finest Irish striker we've ever had, and probably one of the best Irish strikers at Tottenham we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Teddy Sheringham would die for the club. He was devastated when he left to go to Manchester United.
Yeah.
I've started following this club, Philip, properly. I think 83, 84 was probably my first proper season. Before that, I can just remember bits and pieces, but I was alive. I love this club. This club means everything to me. It's my team. And the younger fans today don't understand how much this club means to us.
Yeah.
How much Tottenham Hotspur. If Conte rang you and me, Dave or Jack or something, or you and me, say, and Ellie, right? Ellie's an ex-Spurs legend. Say, right, can you guys play the weekend? We would pull that shirt on with pride.
Yeah.
The likes of Nombellier, I'm picking him out. Mr. fucking Burger King, who sits on his ass eating just McDonald's or goes down to the local Kentucky Fried Chicken, wants to come up, make a substitution. I think I walk off in my own time. That's disrespecting the club, disrespecting the
Yeah.
badge.
Yeah. Oh, it is, and you know, Dermot, the year you started as a following Spurs is probably one of the most significant years in the history of the club, because I think, well, I mentioned '92 was the start of the downfall. I think 1984 probably was the preliminary to it, when when Keith Birkinshaw left the club the night we won the UEFA Cup, and his parting shot was, there used to be a football club in there.
Yeah.
That was the start of the problems, the financial problems that beset us for the next 8 or 9 years. And left, okay, the mid 80s, the late 80s, we had 1987, Clive Allen, 49 goals in the season. That'll never be repeated again. And we lost the FA Cup final to Coventry, which is that's the most shocking result in my Spurs life, to be honest with you. But I think we've got a series where the players from 1984 onwards that came in probably was the start of the lesser committed bunch, if you like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you had to put a line under it, that's probably when it started. Although, like, we had good players, we like the likes of Paul Stewart and Eric Torsfed. I mean, they played well for the badge.
Yeah.
Pat Van Den Houw, who would go through a brick wall backwards if I wouldn't like to get tackled by him. Paul Allen, so they were good. They were good players. But then the likes of Richard Gough only stayed a couple of seasons. And Richard Gough, that was a tragedy. He left. He could have been the new Graham Roberts.
Yeah.
But he didn't stay long enough,
No.
So whether the meanness had set in there, that they wouldn't pay the wages or whatever, I don't know. Then we had the debacle between Sugar and Venables whenever Sugar rescued the club. I mean, we were out of business in June '91 only for Alan Sugar. We've got to give him credit for that. But as Irving Scholar said the day that the deal was signed, he said, I'll give it a year. And he was spot on. It'll be a year before they break up and a couple of years before the divorce.
Yeah, Philip, look, you and me can sit here till we're blue in the face and tell you how much the class was the pride it is to be a Spurs fan, going through the glory days, going through the players that we followed as kids and young adult, teenagers, adults, to what we are now. Going through the bad times, going through the good times. Fans today have not got a Scooby-Doo what it was like waking up as a 14-year-old, going to bed, upset, thinking, if I wake up in the morning, will I have a football club to support?
Exactly.
That's how much this club means to me. That's how much it pisses me off to see the players of today, the players that play under Conte, that don't care, that don't put an effort in, that don't actually put the extra 10% in. Where's the commitment gone? Where's the loyalty gone? Where's you put on a badge? The club pay your wages. The only way it's going to stop, Philip, is don't pay them, and then we'll see them.
Yeah, then you'll be done for breach of contract. But like most players' loyalties now is to their bank balance. It's not to the club they're playing for. Now there are notable exceptions to that. We all know who they are in every club, but there are so many mercenary players coming in now. And it's killing the passion of the game.
Yeah,
I would love to see what would happen was if Sky pulled out of the deal, and the club stopped getting these millions they get from the TV rights. You can be sure there'd be a scramble to renegotiate nearly every contract in the club and bring the players down to more realistic wages. Now I know that's probably not going to happen, but like if you look at the problems Juventus have. And Spanish football, there's a lot of teams in Spain and Italy are on their uppers because they've overstretched on the budget side. I mean, Juventus could well be relegated again this season for financial irregularities. Barcelona can't buy a bag of chips without selling a player. So it's happening elsewhere. And who's to say it's not going to start happening here soon?
Exactly. Look, Philip, look, look, I go back to the Scholar years, right? Alvin Scholar was the start of the rock for me. That's where it started.
Yeah, that's right.
We've seen plenty of YouTube programs about Hummel and taking over a painting company, I think, and running that into the ground. Every business he touched, it went belly up.
Yeah.
Then we had the Terry Venables Sugar thing. Look, no one was happier than me and you. Our club is saved.
Yeah.
But it takes a long time to come back from nothing. We had to start from zero again to where we are now.
Yeah. Yeah, because
And
look at the results in the mid-90s. The results in the mid-90s were not exactly great.
no.
We were lower to mid-table a lot of the time, you know.
But do you think some of the players then, Philip, in that team showed more passion and determination than some of the players now?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think now who we had.
We had Nick
Uh,
Barmby,
Nick Barmby,
Darren,
yeah.
Darren
Then we
Anderton.
had the Dumitrescu. You remember Dumitrescu
Yeah,
and
that's
Popescu,
true.
those Romanian
Yeah,
guys that came in, you know.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
Ian Walker,
Klinsmann.
and wasn't a great goalkeeper, but he
Oh
was.
Jesus, don't mention him. He was fucking dreadful. That Philip, please. You give me
I said he
nightmares.
wasn't a great goalkeeper to him. I was being kind.
He was fucking useless. I mean,
Good
he should have
haircut,
been
good
a model.
hairstyle, though. You know?
Yeah, he'd been good as a model than a fucking goalkeeper. But
Yeah.
Jurgen Klinsmann, one who cares passionately about Tottenham. He really does.
And Jurgen Klinsmann was one of them. Was a legend, yeah, he was. But you've got them. Just come back to the Scholar again there. Scholar, I remember after the 1991 final. Was it the 91 final? Yeah, he was still in charge at that stage, right? Just about.
Yeah.
And I think he made the team wear these Fred Bloggs t-shirts.
I remember.
Remember that? I'm saying no more. That's all I can say. At least you look at the team now, and they're kitted out by, I don't know who kits them out. Is it Hugo Boss or whatever? But they look very smart when they go out, But turn them over bloody Fred Bloggs t-shirts after winning the FA Cup. Jesus, come on.
I'll just give you an update on the poll. I'm still shocked by this. I'm really am. Look, there's been 14 votes, 37 minutes it's been up. It says, would you be happy if investment came from a country with bad human rights? 79% say yes, 21% say no. That shows how desperate we are to win stuff.
It just shows you how desperate we are to get rid of Daniel Levy, really.
Yeah.
When we're talking about getting rid of the devil and bringing in two devils, really, it's like going quite strange.
Yeah, it's like going from the frying pan into the fire. That's what it seems. Look, as we tried to keep neutral on this channel, we're not either way, but that surprised me, that poll. Look, a lot of people here, I've started a comment here, Philip, and it's Wayne Bonner, and big up Wayne. So we're getting to get to it. And listen, if you want to jump the queue, put it into a super chat if you can. If you do put it into super chat for me and Philip, and get your questions in. And also get your memberships. Be like Wayne Bonner. Get your members, because we will be doing a members only fan zone soon. Once we get enough members, I think we're looking for 12. I think we're going to start doing it from 12 memberships. So we're at 6 at the moment. So we need another 6 more to start these member fan zones. So get them, come on, and we'll give you your time to have your say. And Wayne here says, what's the actual crack with the Arab money? Is it merely an investment, or are they actually looking to buy into the club? Philip, as far as I know, for looking into it, I think it's just investment.
Yeah, I think it's a 30%. I think it's investments. They can't take more than 30% of the share value, because they have to sell PSG to do that. And I can't see them selling PSG to buy us, But again, I don't know. I'm torn whether this is a deliberate leak by the club to try and draw attention away from other matters on the pitch, or what. I really can't make this one out. And but as I said, because of if it was, say, a German company or an American company, I'd say yeah, maybe. But the fact that it's an Arab company, I'm skeptical that there's anything behind all these talks at all.
And I think it's the company that owns PSG.
It is,
right.
It is, yeah.
It is. And then Elias says, for an example, we're talking about players not giving their best and not playing well. He says, for example, Phil Jones loves United, apparently, but he can't contribute to anything further to United. So we have similar peps in our side too, I guess. Look, Phil Jones come up under Alex Ferguson. So Phil Jones always gives 100% when he plays.
He did, he did. I don't mind a player. Staying who can't get into the first team, who will actually put his head down in training and try and impress the boss, but it's the ones that just come in and scratch the surface and don't bother breaking sweat. They're the ones that we want to get rid of, But the problem again, the contract situation is so weighted in favor of the players. The agents have all the power here. And they could. I mean, if you upset And just taking Ndombele, for example, right?
Yeah.
If you upset Ndombele's agents, right, and he had, say we were after one of his players to sign for the club, all it takes is one phone call, don't sign for Tottenham, they're trouble.
Yeah.
He can scupper our transfer dealings. And that's why the owners are so kowtowing to the agents and bowing down to them.
Yeah, there is. Look, I just want to bring up something, Philip. Hang on, sorry, I'm very thirsty today. I want to bring up something. It's a heading. Well, this was the finishing positions between Sugar and then when Enoch took over.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody looked at that, right, say from 09-010 to last season, everyone would think, oh, honky dory. You know, everything's fine. But look how bad we were under Sugar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying earlier. The mid-90s were very poor. We were mid to lower table all the time. And if you look at 93, 94, we were what? We were about 14th, 15th.
We nearly got red. Was it because we beat Oldham away to stay up?
That's right. That's right. I mean, and then you'd Ozzy Ardiles, who we all love Ozzy Ardiles, but let's face it, Ozzy isn't a defensive coach. I mean, Ozzy would play 9 forwards and a goalkeeper if he could get away with it, you know, and probably did sometimes. So like we were in trouble. We were a poor team at that stage, you know. And Alan Sugar, for all his money that he saved the club, Alan Sugar was never a real Tottenham fan.
No.
You know, he was probably generically he was because he was Jewish, he was from London, and he thought he was doing the club a favour by taking it. But Alan, I don't know if you watch The Apprentice now, but Alan Sugar is ruthless.
Yes.
You know, he really is. He doesn't take prisoners, and while he still, the only thing that he claims to be a Spurs fan still, and I do like the plane he flies is pure Spurs colours. You know, but other than that, I think his tenure as owner of the club is probably one of the lesser lights of the last 40 years.
I'd say
he saved us, and that was about it.
Yeah. So look, Philip, it still goes back to the same point, Philip. Where has the house that BIIL built? Where's it gone? Where's the passion for? Where's the family? Tottenham was always a family club. It was always a family. You knew Tottenham would do so much for the community, and we probably still do. But you look at now, and we go to games, and there's so much toxic atmosphere because of the owners, because of what's happening on the pitch, because of Conte. But you look back to the 80s where we were all together as a fan base. We all came as one. The players and the fans were connected. You know, you could, even in the 80s, you could go down to a pub. You could see Gary Mabbutt or Graham Roberts or Steve Perriman in the pub. Back in the 60s, you could go down to the corner pin. You've told me this many a time. See Jimmy Greaves and Alan Zena. Has the players and the fans lost complete connection? That they're just not connected anymore?
Well, look at back in the 80s, right? There was no social media. And I actually put social media, I won't say blame, but the social media is the reason for an awful lot of the discontent between fans. Because all it takes is someone to put up a post. It's shared 50,000 times, and that means there's 50,000 more people looking at the same view, which we didn't have in the 80s, you know? And as regards to your question about the house that BIIL built, if you could regard the Tottenham Stadium as an Airbnb rental, right? You rent it out some weeks and you get good tenants, you get good players. In other years, you get terrible players. So it's kind of a funny analogy, that funny way of describing that there. But
it's probably right, though.
Do you know where I'm coming from? You don't know what you're going to get, until you sign the players and see what they can do. But I do think our scouting and our recruitment, especially under Steve Hitchen, was abominable.
Yeah.
And how that guy sleeps at night, I do not know. I mean, other clubs, like I think Brentford, have this absolutely superb way of checking out all the players that signs for them. They check everything. Psychological profiles, physical profiles. They look at their social media to see are they involved in anything dodgy. They really do it to the nth degree. I don't think we do that.
No.
I really do, because if we did, we certainly wouldn't have signed Ndombele.
No.
Because we would have seen there was a fixation with McDonald's there, you know?
Yeah. That's so true. Burger King, KFC, and I bet your local Chinese restaurants doing very badly now with the local Burger King from Tottenham's not doing very good business now.
Well, that's true. That's true.
He was there for he should have been kept there for the local area to keep the local businesses going.
Yeah.
That's
But there is a really
disconnect.
As Andrew says, that there is a huge disconnect between the
There
club
is.
and the fans. And I don't really know where that can be rectified. Okay, it can be rectified if we sign the players that we're looking for, right? And if the management, or not the management, the ownership are a little bit more forthcoming with their plans, whether they plan to keep it, sell it, or do whatever they want with it. Where's the naming rights? What's happening there? Things like that. Like I know the club supporters trust sent in a letter last week. I don't think that's been answered yet, as far as I know.
No,
I don't think that they've got an answer. It'll be interesting to see, do they answer the questions, or do they fudge them? Do they give you half answers without telling us really what we want to know?
and also that the financial reports haven't been released either.
That's more worrying. But they should have been out last week.
So are we in the worst? Philip, do you think we're in the worst position than what they're letting on? That's why there's no money to spend.
Well, apparently there's 170 million profits going to be shown. That was a rumor that was coming out in the accounts. So I mean, from that point of view, that's not chicken feed. That's good money. So I don't believe we're financially strapped over this, because I mean, look at the extra events they've had this year. The NFL, the Guns N' Roses, Lady Gaga, that brought in millions, literally millions to the coffers. But where it's actually going to be used on, that's another day's work, you know. But I think all we want is a little bit of clarity. We want to become like a people's club, like Leicester City, where the fans don't own the club, but the fans seem to know what's going on in Leicester more than we do in Tottenham. And
that's the point I'm making, Philip. Where has that family club gone? Because we knew what was happening on the Sculler, and we knew what was happening on the Sugar. We knew very well what was happening. As soon as Enoch and Levy have come on, was it because we were a public company and news had to be announced? That news had to be. And since they become a private company, they don't have to give out anything if they don't want to.
Yeah, you couldn't sign a player when Spurs were a PLC. You couldn't sign. You had to tell the stock exchange first you were signing a player. You know, the stock exchange needed you before the player did, which is a bit silly. Now we've got, I think that the third word in Enoch's name is the most important one: investment.
Yeah,
that's what they're in. They're in to make money for their clients, and if that means the money goes back in dividends to a guy that probably doesn't need it anyway, or is kept in the club to buy new players, well, we know what's happening.
Yeah,
and they ain't coming to the club. So you know this is. So the only thing I'm worried about too, if we do get new owners, right? Who's to say they're not going to be as bad as the ones that are leaving? Because owners want to make money, full stop. And it's okay for the likes of Etihad and Manchester City that they'll just throw money out. They don't need to make money. They've got more money than they need already.
Yeah,
but
and Newcastle as well.
And Newcastle will be that way next season or soon enough, you know. And Chelsea are different now. Chelsea haven't got the dirty money from Abramovich anymore, but they've got a guy who just doesn't seem to understand the game. You know, you just need to sign the player every 10 seconds. Think that'll do that. That'll fix their problems. Chelsea are worse off than we are by a big country mile at the moment, but nobody seems to be saying that. It's Tottenham are the ones who are in crisis, not Chelsea.
Do you know Chelsea are 10 points off relegation and 10 points off top four?
Yeah.
And that says it all. Look, Philip, we've got two really good comments here. One from Tony Young and William McDonald. And look, they're both, I think Tony started following the team in 1958, which is, he saw it all, and the same as you as well, and Wilton as well. I want to say big up to Mick Harmlick as well. Big up, Mick. Thank you for joining us tonight as well. He says, there's two comments here, Philip. Read them out. What would do Levy and Conte good? It would do Levy and Conte good to listen to what Bill told players. Supporters are the most important thing at the club. Wasn't there a statement Bill Nick made? Somebody asked him a question. What does it mean to play for Tottenham Hotspur? And Bill Nick said, was it in the dressing room? There'll be a time when I'm not here, when you're not here. But Tottenham is the fans. Tottenham is fans of Tottenham. Tottenham is the fans. Without fans, this club does not exist. Yeah. Was it something along them lines?
It was something along those lines, but that was in the days back when the Richardsons and the Wales and the Behrmans were in charge, and it was more or less a private, privately owned club. There was no investment companies involved in anything, and things were fairly secretive there too. And again, I mean, I'm not defending them. Those guys were tight with the money as well. They didn't lash it out, because they had their historical won't say pathological meanness, but like, you earned your money at Tottenham. You didn't get a pay rise unless you really earned it. So from that point of view, it hasn't really changed. And we're not in the business of paying the mega bucks to players now. But as Andrew Gregory makes a good point there too, but the financial report, it will be announced when the transfer window's closed.
Probably.
That would be Spursy, wouldn't it? That really would be Spursy.
And this other one here, Wilton put in, I agree with it as well, Philip, as well. The house that the likes of Bill Nicholson, Bill Shankly, Matt Busby built is still there, but the owners have no understanding of what they're in charge of, and that's a great foundation. Look, we all know that the greats of Matt Busby, Bill Shankly, Liverpool have built on the Bill Shankly foundations, and Liverpool become probably the biggest club in Europe.
Yeah,
you look at Matt Busby, Man United did the same. They become the biggest club in the world. Tottenham, when Bill Nick left, that was it. And then we had a mini revival under Keith Birkinshaw. And then after Keith Birkinshaw, it's been 3 trophies since 1991? 3 trophies.
3 trophies, 3 trophies.
3 trophies. 1991. 1 FA Cup, 2 League Cup. 3 trophies. People going, we haven't won a trophy in 15 years or 16 years. We've only won 3 trophies since 1991. So you're looking now 91, 2001, 2011, 2021. You're looking at 32 years.
32 years,
3 trophies in 32 years. Man United have won more. Liverpool have won more than us in 32 years. So, Philip, the point I'm trying to make is, has there been a collective failure from Scholar One, like from Alan Sugar and Enoch, that the last 2 owners that have came into Tottenham Hotspur, Ivan Scholar, to his credit, won a UEFA Cup and an FA Cup. So has it been a failure from Sugar to Enoch that we have not built on the foundations laid by Bill Nick, where the likes of Liverpool and Manchester United have built on the foundations laid by Bill Shankly and Matt Busby?
Yeah, well, I mean, let's face it, Liverpool and Man United were winning European trophies when we weren't in the 90s. And, they and plus that they were always regarded as bigger clubs than Tottenham. So they were able to attract the managers. They were willing to pay the managers, like the likes of Ferguson. Now, rumour has it Alex Ferguson almost signed up for Tottenham before he went to Manchester United. So, like, what happened there? Who refused to pay the money he wanted? It's all down to money. We have never had the propensity to pay what's the going rate. We always try and get it on the cheap. And it doesn't always work out. I mean, you look at some of the quality of some of the managers we had during the 90s. You wouldn't put them in charge of a chip shop, some of them. No. Whereas United and Liverpool, look at their manager. They were all, they had the likes of Bill Shankly, but then he had Bob Paisley, he had Roy Evans, he had guys that worked through the system with them, with Shankly, came on afterwards and kept the tradition going. But unfortunately, we didn't have that situation. When we got rid of a manager, it was usually under bad blood between them for some reason or other, and we replaced him with whatever was on offer at the time. Okay, sometimes it worked out, sometimes it didn't. It worked out with Terry Venables for a while. It worked out with Keith Birkinshaw. It didn't. It worked out even what you call him, Jack Santini, was it that won the? No, sorry, it wasn't Santini that won the last time we won the cup. What do you call him?
Ramos.
Ramos. Yeah, mix those two up all the time. Ramos was imagine Sergio Juan Ramos was the last manager to win a cup for Tottenham. And how many managers have we had since then? I've lost count. So we haven't speculated to accumulate when we should have done.
David Pleat, the 87 side. If we had built on that 87 side, we would have been successful.
But well, come closer to home than that. Come closer to home than that. If we'd have built on the 2019 Champions League winning side, what could we have done? But they didn't. We took a backward step. The players lost faith in Pochettino, and look where that left us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, have they failed, Philip? Have they failed? Has Sugar, has Enoch and Levy failed? Where as I said, Liverpool owners and Man United knows, where they took on the mantle and put something in place for managers to replace managers from within the club. Has Sugar had Scholar, had Sugar, had Levy in it failed in building on the foundations that were left by our greatest manager? That's the
Well,
question. Have they
they have,
failed?
you have to say they have. But then again, Manchester United is not maybe a fair comparison because the Glazers have actually screwed that club into the ground.
Yeah.
But so I wouldn't. Liverpool are a very well-run club. Liverpool will be the role model that I think we should be adopting. They haven't been scared to put their money where their mouth is and back the manager, and it's been successful for them. You know, they've been very successful over the last few years. United are an accident waiting to happen with the Glazers in there. So if anything is to be said, we're lucky enough that we have Levy and not the Glazers. If it's the other way around, we will be the voice to get the Glazers out will be 10 times what it is to get Levy and Enoch out. But we haven't followed on. We haven't pushed on when we had a chance to, for whatever reason. And I think it's down to not being willing to spend the money it would have taken to do the business properly and trying to do it on the cheap and trying to do it at a discount all the time.
Yeah, I mean, look, Philip, I even got one here from Tony Young. When Arthur Rowe was interviewed about his time, he was in tears when asked what it was meant.
I saw that interview. Yeah. I mean, Arthur Rowe was he was Bill Nicholson's mentor. You know, without Arthur Rowe, we wouldn't have had Bill Nicholson. So, you know, Arthur Rowe is one of the legendary managers of the club, and like one of the few to bring the league title to the ground. So again, he was a really, really good guy. He's probably spinning in his grave at the moment. That's probably the best way to put it.
Right, Philip. Well, look, we'll end up soon, Philip. We've got a few just bits and pieces, news and transfers to get over. Of course, we've got Alistair Gold reveal what he has heard about the Qatari investment, and he put here, Philip. He says Alistair Gold has revealed that Tottenham have denied they have held any talks with Qatar Sports Investments regarding their minority interest in the club, but journalists have added that such a response is to be respected. The report revealed that the QSI chairman, Nasser Khalifi, I hope I've pronounced his name right, met the Tottenham Hotspur chairman, Daniel Levy, earlier this week in London for early talks with a possible investment thought to be discussed. Look, we've discussed that, Philip, but I don't want them anywhere near a club. But look, it is what it is, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is. I mean, I can see Alice's point there. They're not going to confirm or deny. They're not going to confirm it, but they're not going to deny it either. I mean, you have to take it that there could be talks. I mean, if they're doing the rounds, I'm sure if they're talking to us, they're also talking to Manchester United and talking to Liverpool.
Yeah.
So, you know, it might not just be us that they're in the market for. And to be honest with you, I can see in the Arab world, given our Jewish heritage, if you like, with Spurs, United and Liverpool might be a more attractive bet. Might not cause as much controversy out in the Far East, in the Middle East. So we'll see what happens on that one, Yeah.
We've got also Gareth Bale retires from football at the age of 33 after collecting a career with Wales, Tottenham, and Real Madrid.
Yeah.
What an ambassador for the club. What a player.
He was. I mean, we might have given out about him because he wanted to get away to Real Madrid and whatever. But let's face it, that guy in full flow was absolute poetry in motion. He really was. He can now retire and play 72 holes of golf every day, like he's probably been doing for the last 2 years anyway.
Yeah. Any memories of Gareth Bale come to mind?
I think the Inter Milan game when he took a taxi from Icon. I think that's got to be the one that you remember. I mean, that poor fella. I don't think he ever recovered from that match. I think that was the end of him. Also, some of the goals he scored. I mean, some of the goals and. Just his. Like I remember he signed for Spurs in 2007, and I remember at the time he couldn't get a game. I think he went something like, and then when he did get playing, it was 24 or 25 matches into his career before we actually won a match he started in.
Yeah,
he was one of these Jonas that came onto the pitch. We couldn't win a game if Bale was playing, but then he came along. He hit the spot there, and for the last 2 or 3 years he was brilliant.
What was it, 12 or 13 or 14 games on the road that he couldn't win? We lost.
Something like that. No, it was some big amount anyway, It really was.
It was down to Harry Redknapp that changed his position from a left back to a left winger.
That's right. Harry brought him forward. But the match versus Inter, I think that's most people's favourite game. especially those two crosses he put in, one for Peter Crouch and one for Pavlyuchenko to score. I'd get rid of that comment.
I just want to say, I admire your commitment coming into a Spurs channel. I mean, you are in a bit of a mess. You may be 2 times European champions, but we were the first team to win a European trophy in Europe, by the way.
I think as well, too. I think at the moment Harry Potter will be doing a better job than Graham Potter. So
don't be slinging. Don't be just because we've got Conte and you've got Graham Potter. Don't be coming over to us. If you want to come over and support Tottenham, we're waiting room and open arms. You can become a Spurs fan, but you're in a lot of trouble over at Chelsea. We're a lot of trouble. Gareth Bale versus Inter by someone big up. Yeah, that's true. Gareth Bale for me. And then Philip, the last bit of news, and then we'll end off with the rules for the memberships for the $2.99 and $4.99 thing again. Tottenham Hotspur, Dimish Sheth. I think that might be a Sky Sports report, or
it is. Yeah, it's him. It's Army Chef. He is Sky Sports. Yeah. It
says that the board want to back Conte with forward and a wing back, and now if that's true, then happy days.
Well, except he's missing the 2 most important words there: centre back. No,
Philip, fancy getting your boots on again?
No, don't think so. I couldn't take the abuse. I mean, a forward. We do need a forward, and this is where I think Leonardo Trossard from Brighton is on the radar at the moment. Although Brighton said they don't want to sell him, but Trossard's a decent player, a Belgian international. He'd be all right for us. He'd be a good substitute for Heung-min Son.
Yeah, he would be. There was other bit of news here, Philip, just very quickly before we end off. And it was something here, and I read it back here. I didn't put in the comments. Where is it now? Here it is. That the personal terms have been agreed between Tottenham and Pedro Porro. Transfer happening now.
Yeah, but has transfer fee been agreed with the club? That's more important. You can agree all the personal terms you like.
Think, for what I can do, I think we're only $3 million apart, apparently.
God, where have we been? This is Jack Grealish all over again. We were $3 million apart on him as well. Oh dear, I'd rather be £3 apart than $3 million apart now, to be honest, because. We'll see. But it's easy agreeing terms, but the clubs have to agree, and that's where the big crutch is going to be,
Yeah, I'll read you out the article here quickly. Tottenham have now agreed personal terms with the unpredictable 40 million Conte target. Tottenham, where is it now? Tottenham are continuing to press on the pursuit of Pedro, and according to Ruby Gillette, have agreed personal terms. Gillette writes on his website how there is an agreement in principle between the player and Spurs. Porro is said to be Antonio Conte's main target to fill wing-backs. If he does sign, then both Emerson Royale and Matt Doherty are expected to be allowed to move on. Porro, that is fair enough. Porro has been in fine form for Sporting Lisbon and has impressed against English teams in recent times. However, they're still not updating whether Tottenham will pay the money needed to collect rights. How Spurs are still not budging on their valuation and will only accept the 40 million release clause. Sporting will only release the 40 million release clause in their contract.
We'll see.
Philip, do you want to just go over the rules? This is for the $2.99 and the $2.99 and $4.99 memberships. If I get them up again, it's the football rules for the football forecast game, and Philip here will bring you the rules and how you can join.
Right, we have 10 games every week. Selected can be from any division. You don't pick the score. You pick the result. So basically, it'll be 1 point for a home win, 1.5 for a draw, and 2 points for an away win. To add to that, there's also one game picked every week as a score prediction. So you try and predict the score of that game. If you get it right, you get 2 extra points. And then also the amount of goals scored in that particular week is also forecast, be it 20, 25, 26, and you get 2 points for that. So there's 3 different ways you can score from the result of the match, the prediction score of the match, and the goal scored over the 10 matches. Everything's totted up in the league table, and it'll be starting soon at the Manchester City game. It'll run till the end of the season, and the winner gets a Tottenham football or a Spurs shirt of your choice.
And it's for members of the $2.99 and $4.99. We are starting it out on the 5th of February. So the Man City game will be your first weekend of the 5th of February to do it. So get your memberships. We'll do a leaderboard. It will be released every Monday on the community section. And also when me and Philip do our Monday show, we will be doing a show around this as well. So giving you an update.
And the fixtures will go up every Sunday before before the matches.
So after that weekend, we do. Right, Philip, your battery's about to die.
Battery's about to go.
I'm about to upgrade to a new PC, so I'm going to spend the evening bashing my head against the wall because I hate technology, and it's going to drive me absolutely freaking potty. So if you hear shouting from Wexford, anybody, it's me shouting at my PC that I don't know what I'm doing. So we're back tomorrow, Philip, sometime? I think we are back tomorrow.
I'm on the road tomorrow, so I won't be...
Be me and Ellie tomorrow with Newsbeat tomorrow afternoon. And then Wednesday, we have the King, the Queen, the Princess, and the Godfather. We've got to think of a new name for that.
The Royal Family. The Royal Family.
Yeah, the Royal Family. The four of us will be back with our favourites Tottenham Arsenal moments. And we're going to show a couple of old Tottenham Arsenal games as well. Thursday, we're back with the Tottenham debate with an Arsenal fan. And then Friday, we are doing Fan Zone. Saturday, pre-match for the Arsenal. Sunday, me and Philip will be trying to keep our unbeaten run going from doing watch-alongs. And then we will do the post-match show Sunday evening as well. And then we'll start again Monday for the build-up. But thank you, everyone, for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please hit that like button, hit the subscription button, get a membership if you want to join in the competition starting on the 5th of February. So get $2.99 or $4.99. We'll enter you into that, and also send our best wishes to Ellie, who's taken a little bit of a time off for family reasons, and also to Dave as well. Big up, Dave. We're all here for you, brother, and we hope you're all right. So we will be back tomorrow at 4:00 with Newsbeat with me and Ellie with all the latest news, transfers, and everything. So we are back. So take care. Have a good evening, and whatever you do, please keep in contact with Trust and come on, you Spurs.
Trust.
Oh, hang on. Handy if I went out the normal way, wouldn't it? Been doing this now for a year and I forgot what to do.